Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD Relationship Psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD Trauma Transformational Tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you about it's not your fault. And what I mean by this is it's not your fault if your PMDD partner is in a bad mood. So many times earlier in my journey, I took responsibility for the moods of my PMDD partners. If they were having a bad day, I felt like I had to have a bad day. I canceled plans. I canceled trips. I canceled things that were going to make me feel good because I felt like, how can I possibly have a good day and my PMDD partner is not having a good day? And then also, I have a lot of clients where if your PMDD partner is suffering in PMDD, a lot of times the breakups come because you feel obligated to not have a good day because your partner is suffering. And they, a lot of times, don't even want you to suffer with them. You know, it's this intrinsic obligation that we feel. We feel like I can't possibly be in a relationship and my partner's suffering and then I'm having a good day or I'm just living my life. And I want to let you know it's not your fault. A lot of times your partner has things going on that have nothing to do with you. So I'm going to give you an example of this in my, relationship right now where I'm in Vegas. I'm still in Vegas for my birthday, which is tomorrow. But when I recorded the last episode, it was the beginning of the visit when I was in Vegas and my partner had just got here and he was in a bad mood. And I really felt like this was something that I had learned over the years that really, really helped me still enjoy my life in a sense where I didn't feel like I needed to break up with my PMDD partner, because I know a lot of times when you think about breaking up with your PMDD partner, it's because you feel so overwhelmed that you're taking on the emotions of your partner, but you don't even have the capability of taking on the emotions of yourself in the moment. Like I know when I'm in PMDD and I'm going through a lot of my emotional turmoil, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling all these things. If my partner comes in with his own set of emotions, it's almost too overwhelming for me. And I feel like, okay, I need to make my partner feel better even while I'm suffering. And me thinking in my mind that the only way to be in this relationship is to make sure that I'm tending to his emotions and then also mine made me being in a PMDD relationship virtually impossible, because I felt like I can't handle my partner's emotions and my emotions. So if I had to choose one, I can't run away from myself and the emotions that come with PMDD. So obviously the choice was to break up with my partner. And it's like, okay, if I just break up with my partner, I won't have to do, everything that I need to do to make sure they're feeling okay. And I can only have to worry about my emotions. But I want to give you another perspective on this that's really helps me maintain my intimate relationship while having PMDD. And that is me understanding that it is not my fault if my partner is in a bad mood. It is not my fault if my partner takes actions that are not conducive for our relationship. You have to allow your partner to make mistakes in their journey. This expectation that we're both going to show up perfectly to each other and everything's going to be great and then our relationship will work is unrealistic. This relationship and your relationship is a journey. You're going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to slip, and that needs to be okay with your partner. Your partner doesn't, if I slip up in the relationship and say if I was supposed to do something and I didn't do it, I'm not expecting my partner to take responsibility for that. I'll give you an example. So we're here out in Vegas, and if you're following me on Instagram at In Love with PMDD, I've been documenting, I document every single day of my journey, but I'm in my follicular days, I'm in my good days. And I was documenting how I'm trying to show up to my partner as my best. And it almost seems like the more I do that, the more my partner is showing up as the opposite. And in the past, I have blamed my partner, like, you ruined my day. Like, I'm trying to show up as my best. I'm putting forth all this effort. I'm doing everything that's supposed to make you feel good. I'm being supportive, and you're still showing up flawed. And what I want to let you know is it doesn't matter how many good things that you do for your partner, they still can show up with flaws and with mistakes. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that that's not the right person for you. It doesn't mean you need to get a different partner. It doesn't mean if you're sitting here, putting in the tools that you've used with me and they're sitting over there making mistakes the whole time, that you're like, oh, I should just get a different partner. No, your partner can have off days. And during this trip, during my birthday trip here in Vegas, my partner has had a lot of off days. So the first thing I needed to do was put everything into perspective. What is my partner going through in his life with work, with his wellness journey, like all of the things that would affect my partner's mood. So what I want you to do as an exercise, and this is things that I do with my private clients, is think about how your partner is when they are at their best. What needs to happen? I know for me, when I'm at my best, I've had my morning routine. I have space when I need it. I have a less stress in my life. I don't feel overwhelmed. And during those times, I'm at my best. When I'm in PMDD, I can pretty much handle things. I'm not on edge if I don't have a lot of things going on that are causing me stress. And I know with my partner, when he gets his morning routine done, and he feels good in his body, he feels confident, then he's at his best. So let me see how I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you what happened on the trip. And then I'm recording this, and I didn't plan to record this while I'm on vacation, but I'm just like, I need to, get this out to you because it's so valuable and it's really helped my PMDD relationship. And I don't want it. Everything that I go through, I share with you because it helps me, then it helps you because we are the same. Okay. I literally have private clients where they say, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't even have to tell you a lot of the things that I'm going through because you already know, because you're going through them. And that's why having these sessions with you is so valuable. And it's true because as PMDD partners, we're all going through the same things. It's just, if you don't have the tools to specifically know how to navigate them, then you can end up down the rabbit hole of doing the monthly breakup. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into what's been going on. So my partner came and he was in a bad mood because he had driven, if you listen to the episode before this, that he took the long drive from Southern California the day before Thanksgiving, and he was just in a bad mood. And then when he got here, I told you how I did what I needed to do to feel good, to show up to my partner as my best. So that's the tool number one. You need to do whatever it is that you need to do. And you have to know this. Like, I had to know what I needed to do outside of my partner, and it had to be a non-negotiable. So for me, it was my morning routine. I needed to get up. There's a whole episode on, it's called What's in Your PMDD Toolbox, and it tells you everything I do with my morning routine. And I got up, I did my morning routine, and even though he was cranky the day before, because I had done the work, I had done my morning routine, I showed up to him as my best again. So sometimes you have to do that. Like, for example, if you show up as your best and then your partner's in a bad mood and everything, you may have to recalibrate yourself and go do the things that make you feel good and then show up to your partner as your best again. You may have to rinse and repeat the tools that you use to show up as your best, whether it's journaling, whether it's working out, whether it's taking a walk, whether it's getting outside. It's different for everyone. And I never give the cookie cutter routine for everyone. All of my private clients, there's a specific routine that makes them feel their best. So my morning routine makes me feel my best. What works for me may not work for you. And you may need to do something completely different. So it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So I went ahead and I, showed up as my best the next day, and we had an amazing day. Thanksgiving Day was amazing. And then we went, out the next day. And again, I got up, I did my morning routine, and my partner was just having an off weekend, it seems, because he went out, he partied too much. And we were supposed to do dinner that night. And I was like, oh, we're going to do dinner at this place. I wanted to go for my birthday, all the things. And he must have partied too hard the day before when we went out, because when I woke up the next day, he was dragging. He wasn't feeling good. And when he wasn't feeling good, I remember the morning that he wasn't feeling good, I was feeling great. So it's this awkward space. I don't know if you've ever been there where you're feeling good, but your partner's feeling off. So you kind of feel like, oh, I don't want to be too happy. I want to kind of dim my light because I don't want to seem like I'm rubbing it in their face that I'm feeling good. That was my old mentality. I felt like I had to dim my light, lower my vibrations to match my partner. I'm telling you not to do that. And the reason why I'm telling you not to do that is because when your partner's having a bad day or your partner's in a bad mood, it helps if one person is doing well. So I want to let you know it is a good thing if you are in a good mood while your partner is not in a good mood, or vice versa, because somebody needs to be the one to bring you up. Somebody has to encourage the other person, to help the other person. But if you're both feeling in that space where neither one of you are feeling good, and you're just going into it and you're like, oh, I'm dragging. And it's like, oh, I'm dragging too. There's no one to help you. So I don't want you to feel like you have to be down because your partner is down. And I learned that, and I knew that. So when my partner was feeling bad that next morning, I said, oh, that's okay. So we went out to eat, and I was really loving, really supportive because I was in a space to do so. And that's what I want to let you know about filling your cup when you're, in your bad days, and you need to do something to fill your cup, things that are going to make you feel your best, because it's going to help you to encourage your PMDD partner. And that's what I did. He was not feeling his best. And it was kind of trickling in from things that were going on in his day-to-day life before he came on the visit. So I knew before he came on the visit, he was dealing with a lot of stress with work. He was dealing with a lot of stress from not really feeling good in his body. For my PMDD partner, when he is out of alignment with feeling out of shape, feeling sluggish, feeling stressed and overwhelmed, he's not at his best, just like we are. Like, we're not at our best when we're in those states too. So I understood that. And so we went to lunch, and, we were planning on going to dinner that evening. He was like, I'm going to go take a nap. And then after I take the nap, we'll go ahead and, we'll go out to dinner and we'll have a good time. Well, I said, cool, because I had client calls. I had coaching work to do. My daughter was in the room. We had some homework to do. We kind of played around, and 3 to 4 hours later, my partner texts me, and he's like, hey, baby. And I'm like, hey. I text him back, and then I heard nothing. This was like 4:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, okay. So I did my client sessions. I did some coaching work. I did all the things. And it was time to go to dinner. And he still hadn't texted me back about us going to dinner. And I was very confused. I'm like, man, that's weird that he's still sleeping. So I went ahead. I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him sleep because he was going to drive back the next day from Vegas back to Southern California. And so I'm like, I'm going to let him go ahead and get his rest. And when I did this, I was under the assumption that at some point during the evening, you know how you sleep for a long time and you kind of wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I slept that long and all the things. So I thought he was going to wake up, super late. But again, it's Vegas. We can still do things in Vegas. I was still kind of in that keep hope alive kind of thing. And the night had gone by. Me and my daughter and my dog, I took my puppy with us and we went down to the New York hotel. We went to the arcade. We had pizza. We had gelato. We had crepes. We had a good time. And this is what I want to tell you. I gave myself permission to have a good time, even though I knew that my PMDD partner was not feeling well at the moment. You know why? Because I knew that it wasn't my fault. Number one, it wasn't my fault that my PMDD partner wasn't feeling well. And it also wasn't my responsibility to make my partner feel well. It wasn't my responsibility to force them to be back in a place to feel good. I know that my PMDD partner knows what to do to make himself feel better. Just like I have my morning routine, he has his morning routine, and his morning routine is completely different from mine. Not completely different, but it's not the same. It doesn't mirror, each other. Meaning when we're living together, my morning routine looks a little bit different from his in a sense that the only thing that we both really do in our morning routines is we go do a workout. Outside of that, he doesn't do the meditation. He doesn't do, the journaling, the breath work, any of that. He kind of does his own little thing. He listens to podcasts, that really help him. So he has a completely different morning routine, but he knew what to do to make himself feel better. So the first thing that I would say is to make sure that your partner knows what to do to make them feel better. And that's what I help my private clients with. As of this moment, there's only one more spot for my monthly private PMDD coaching. So that's when I work privately with you and your PMDD partner, or just one of you, on giving you the tools on what you specifically need to do. And one of those tools may be implementing, a morning routine or a daily routine of things that make you feel better. When you're feeling really stressed and overwhelmed, what is a routine that you can do to make yourself feel better? And the second way to work with me is my PMDD Partner support group, which launches on December the 1st, which is in a couple of days. If you've not gone to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, and joined, I am currently having a sale. I'm going to release this episode right before, because I'm going to have this sale where it is 50% off. So the cost is only $99 a month. And this is the most affordable way to work with me. With this $99 a month, you and your PMDD partner can come to these weekly sessions. They're going to be Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have a lot of international clients, and I want to let you know that these recordings are going to be available to you, but you'll also be able to message me with Q&A. Like after you watch the episodes of the live sessions, if you have questions that you want to be addressed, I will answer you. But $49 off. So you have $49 only for the first month. And then after that, it's only $99 a month for 4 sessions. And you'll be able to get access to them weekly with tools that you and your PMDD partner will be able to use, with homework that you and your PMDD partner will be able to do, because you have to train your partner to know how to handle a relationship with PMDD. You cannot expect them to just know, and you can't give them a book on it, which is why I haven't written my book yet, because I want you to kind of get in the groove of practicing the tools and then use the book as a reference. I don't want you to think that if you get into a PMDD relationship, all you have to do is hand your partner a book and they're automatically going to know how to handle a PMDD relationship. That's not a thing. It is not a thing to just read information and expect your partner to know. This is why I have my private sessions, because even if your partner read what PMDD is, they're not going to specifically know how to handle your relationship. And you can't expect them to, because even you, when you read up on what PMDD is, you may have said, wow, that's amazing. I know what I have now. I finally know what I have. I have PMDD. But did you know what to do about it? No, you had to do further research. You had to do trial and error of what to do to manage your PMDD symptoms. The same is true in your relationship. You are not going to know how to handle a PMDD relationship without utilizing the tools and without figuring out what works for you and your specific PMDD partner. So this is why I've created the 2 ways to work with me, which is the private PMDD partner sessions, and there's literally only one left. And then also the monthly PMDD partner support group, where we meet once a week. So that's 4 sessions a month. Again, the most affordable way to work with me. And this is going to give you an understanding of what you can do when you have those things happen in your PMDD relationship. So those are the 2 ways to work with me. If you have not applied, go to the link in my bio at In Love with PMDD. If you want to do the private coaching, and if you want to do the group sessions, go to my website at www.inlovewithpmdd.com. And that's going to give you direct access to join the group. We start December the 1st, and we will be continuing every single week, and we'll be meeting. So you'll get 4 complete sessions with four different topics. And so going back to what was going on is that I was in a good place. And so I kind of said to my partner, I was like, you know what? We're going to go eat. And, my partner overslept and everything. And I said, you know what? The next day, my partner was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I overslept. I had all this stuff going on and everything. And I felt, my partner immediately felt so bad. And what I want to let you know is, when your PMDD partner is feeling bad about something, meaning they've made a mistake. I know so many times when you're in PMDD, you're thinking to yourself, this is why I shouldn't be with you. This is why I should be with a different partner. But I want to let you know, no PMDD partner is perfect. You have to allow your partner to make mistakes, because when you're in PMDD, you make a lot of mistakes. When I'm in PMDD, I make a lot of mistakes. So if I create this mentality that only perfection is acceptable, then there's no point of even being in a relationship, because no one's always going to show up to you perfect every single time. And you have to give your partner grace and say, you know what? My partner made a mistake. That doesn't mean I'm with the wrong partner. Any partner that you choose to be with while you're having PMDD, whether you're in PMDD or not, is going to make mistakes. And you are too. So don't forget that. I know a lot of times when our partners make mistakes, we kind of think, oh, I can't believe they did this. And the ego comes and it's like, I deserve so much better than this. I should just be single. But look at you. You're not perfect. What I want to let you know, the way that you can use some of your biggest PMDD blowups for your advantage is to think about all the things that you've done when you're in PMDD. So before you go to judge your partner on what they're doing or what they're not doing and how they're not meeting the mark, think about what you have done to damage the relationship. And know that you're not perfect. So you are not in a place to judge your PMDD partner because they've made a mistake. And you shouldn't expect them to do the same thing. You should have this mutual understanding, and this over time, because this is not how we're programmed, but over time, you can train yourself to be like, my partner made a mistake. It's not the end of the world, and it's not my fault. You do not have to take responsibility for the mistakes of your partner and say, oh, if I would have done things differently, maybe if I would have done this, they would have showed up differently. I could have done that. I could have said, maybe if I would have showed up differently, my partner would have done this. My partner might have done that, but that's not true. Your partner's actions is because of your partner and the state that they were in. Your actions are your responsibility because of the state that you're in. So the only thing that you can control is how you show up to your relationship, and your partner can do the same thing. So what I'm telling you is You are not responsible for ensuring that your partner shows up to the relationship as their best. That is their responsibility. And that's why I have these private sessions that are one-on-one, because I'm giving tools to both partners so that they can start to implement them within their relationship. And when you're doing that, it's empowering, because it's not about you telling your partner, you need to do this and you need to do that. It's giving them the tools and letting them take responsibility for taking the action for utilizing the tools. So when your partner shows up and they're not at their best, that's on them. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. And I guarantee you that they know the ways that they could have shown up as their best, but you're sitting there worrying about maybe you could have shifted and changed things that are going on with you to make them do better, be better, show up to the PMDD relationship better. You are only responsible for your actions when you're in PMDD, and your partner is responsible for their reactions when you're in PMDD. The responsibility lies on the individual, but you are there to support them. So in this situation, I was there to support my PMDD partner. If you're not feeling at your best and they were like, oh, I feel so bad, like I should have done this, I should have done that. And I could have taken that, that part and been like, yeah, you could have done better. And but it's not my responsibility to make you feel worse. And it's not your responsibility to make your PMDD partner feel worse. They know what they did. They know if they said something below the belt. They know if their actions didn't align with being loving. They know that. And it is not your responsibility to remind them like a parent. And that's where a lot of the PMDD breakups come. It's because you feel like you have another child. You feel like, oh my gosh, I have to tell them they need to do this, you need to do that. And when you're constantly telling your partner what they need to do, how they need to show up, all the things, they're going to do the opposite, because no one likes being told what to do. No one likes being told what to do, especially in a relationship, because they go back to that, I'm an adult. I don't want to be told what to do. And this is why getting the tools is so important for your partner, because it's not you telling them what to do. It's you saying, hey, I'm working with Rose. Rose said that she has this program coming out, this group coaching program. If you want to come do it, you can come get the tools. And then they can decide how they're going to implement the tools that they'll be getting on a weekly basis in the relationship. And then it takes the burden off of you as being the bad guy. Like, oh, I'm only doing this because you told me to do it. No. Allow me to be the bad guy in your relationship. It's better for me for them to say, I'm doing this because, Rose told me to do it, and than for them to look at you like you're the authority figure. And then saying, oh, because when things get hard, they think about, why am I even doing this? And if they think about, okay, Rose gave me these tools, they'll remember, but she's only doing this to help my relationship. Whereas if you decide to give them the tools and just say, hey, I think you should do this. Like, how many times has that ever worked? I know that's never worked for me, like with any partner, where I've gone in and been like, you need to do this. And then they just magically do it. Like, that's not worked for me. There's been bitterness and resentment behind me telling my partner what it is that they need to do. Bitterness and resentment, because I feel like, who are you to tell me what to do? Right? Then there's like, you don't want to be the authority figure and the dictator in your relationship. You want to allow them to get the tools and then support them when they implement the tools. So when you start coming to these group coaching sessions and they start implementing the tools, this is your role. Your role is to support them and say, oh my gosh, good job on doing that. Or I really appreciated when you did one of these tools that we learned from Rose this week. That's your role. Your role is to support them in their learning about PMDD relationships, not to tell them what to do and not to chastise them when they make a mistake and say, oh, remember you were supposed to do this and you didn't do it. Like, then you're becoming nagging, and then they're going to feel like, oh, I don't even want to do this thing anyway. This is when the breakups come, because they're thinking, I got to come home and my partner's going to start nagging me on what I did or didn't do while they were in PMDD. And a lot of times when I'm, talking to these PMDD partners, and a lot of them are saying, I don't even want to go home, it's because they feel like they're going home to someone that's going to be telling them what to do the whole time. Instead of them being able to come home and just being in a loving, supportive environment and just be loved and supported like they're supposed to be in a relationship, they're coming home to someone telling them you didn't do something right. And the reason why you're feeling like you have to be the one to tell them that they're not doing something right is because you're feeling like the way that they show up is your responsibility. And I'm here to tell you it's not your responsibility and it's not your fault. So if your partner shows up in a bad mood, say okay and think about how you feel. And if you feel like going out and doing something, you can and come back home. I'm not saying take advantage of it and go out and live your best life and completely detach from them, but you being loving and open and enjoying your life is going to help your PMDD partner. They're going to feel better. And that's what happened. My PMDD partner was like, well, at least you had a good time. And there was apologies and everything after it, but it became, I wasn't the enemy because I didn't sit there and say, you should have done this, you should have done that. And I'm trying to force them to show up as their best. Allow them to have time to think about it intrinsically and say, you know what? I should have showed up better. And my partner was actually supportive and loving in spite of that. And so I need to fix myself. I need to go back to the drawing board and get the tools. That's what's going to make your partner want to do different things, not you telling them. And I know it's easier said than done when you're thinking like, oh, you know, I'm always worried about how my partner shows up. I'm always worried about these things. So I'm going to give you some PMDD trauma transformational tools that's really going to help you to stop worrying about how your partner is showing up. To stop thinking that you're responsible for their actions. You're responsible for what they do and what they don't do in the relationship and trying to force them to be a different way. Because whatever you force and push and push and push, it's going to go the opposite. They're going to repel. It's going to repel them. It's going to make them want to go away because it's going to be stressful for them. They're not going to be saying, oh, let me do what my partner is saying. They're going to say, let me get away from my partner because they're annoying me and they're stressing me out because all they're doing is constantly telling me what I'm not doing right. And that doesn't make your partner want to be with you if you're constantly telling them what they're not doing right. You need to do this and you need to do that. It's not helpful for you. It's stressful for you because you feel like you have to do it. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do it. You don't. If you were to take that off of your plate and really understand that your partner's mood and their emotions and their reactions to things are not your responsibility, you would go through PMDD and you would feel so much less overwhelmed because it's taking something off of your plate. And I know a lot of times when I've, seen the monthly breakups, it's been because I can't handle everything. I can't handle my PMDD and my partner's moods. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. Let yourself off the hook. And think about the first thing I want you to do is really think about how much time you spend worrying about your PMDD partner's emotions every single day. If you wake up in the morning, you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, they were in a bad mood yesterday. I need to make sure that I do things to make them feel better. How is this going to affect our relationship? How is this going to work while I'm in PMDD? What are they going to be expecting me to do while I'm in PMDD? What if I don't do the things that they're expecting me to do? This is why a lot of my private clients will say, oh, I just feel like I would be better off single because I would wake up without all these worried thoughts in my mind of what I have to do in my relationship because it seems like it's too much work. And I want to ask you, has any of that worrying about your PMDD partner ever accomplished anything in your relationship? Has it made you look at your partner better in a positive light or more negatively? Because I know for me in the past, when I've thought about the amount of work that I felt like I had to do in my PMDD relationship, I looked at my partner as a burden. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't have time for this. This is too much for me. And then all of a sudden, my PMDD partner became the enemy because it's like, you're the only thing standing in the way of me and peace. because I don't feel like I can have a peaceful relationship or a peaceful day if I have to worry about your moods going up and down and how you're going to be reacting, to me. Imagine how you could go through your PMDD without wasting all of that time and energy on worrying about how your partner is going to show up. How much more happier and comfortable would you be with your PMDD partner if you thought, man, I'm doing the work for myself and it's great because they're doing the work for themselves, so I don't have to worry about them. It would help you to minimize the time that you spend worrying each day if you took worrying about your PMDD partner off the plate and gave them the responsibility of doing the work for themselves. And that's not you being selfish. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's selfish. I can't possibly just worry about me. I'm in a relationship. No, what you're going to do is you're going to support them in their journey of working on themselves. That is what works best in relationships, is the other partner is not telling them what to do, but they're supporting them in what they know that they're supposed to do. And if they don't know what they're supposed to do, your way of supporting them could have them getting into this group coaching program that I have for PMDD partners. If you want your partner to know about PMDD so much, get them in the program where they can get the tools. Don't keep telling them, you should do your research. You should look online, because I'm here to tell you, I'm in my PMDD Doctorate program, and the research is not there on relationships. It's barely there on PMDD. And I know all of you know that. So you can't tell your partner to go get the tools and there's none out there. But if I'm giving you the tools, if I'm creating an environment, which is why I created this group coaching program, is so they can go in and learn, then you can hold them responsible for utilizing the tools, because you're saying, hey, babe, we're going to be implementing these sessions. You don't even have to do the sessions with your PMDD partner. Maybe they want to take notes on their own. You will both have access to the program, and they can go on there and they can log on and take the notes or listen to it on their ride to work, and then come back and implement the tools. And you all can talk about it every single week. And this can be your way of kind of regulating yourselves in your PMDD relationship. But if you're not willing to invest in your partner getting the tools that they need, then you can't expect them to just show up to the PMDD relationship and know all the right things to do. Don't make the mistake of throwing away the right partner because they had the wrong resources. Just because your partner doesn't know how to handle you when you're in PMDD doesn't mean that they're the wrong PMDD partner for you. They just need better tools. That's it. So I want to give you these PMDD Trauma Transformational Tools that are going to help you to stop worrying and feeling overwhelmed in your PMDD relationship. So the next thing is, put your worries in perspective. Put your worries in perspective, in a sense of, in the grand scheme of things, is you worrying about what your partner's doing, what they're saying? Is that helping them at all? If the answer is no, then stop. If you know that something is not helping, then just stop doing it, because all it's doing is taking away energy that you need when you're in PMDD. You need all the energy that you can get in PMDD. And if you know that worrying is not helping, then just stop it. And the next thing is to start to expect good things to happen in your PMDD relationship and with your partner. Once they start utilizing these tools that I'm giving you, start to think positively. Don't have them listen to the tools and then say, oh, but that's not going to make any difference. It's not really going to help. You can't worry if you expect a positive outcome. If you're really optimistic about, okay, I know if my partner just gets the right tools that it's going to help them. You have to have that mentality and have the confidence in that. Because when you assume that things are going to turn out poorly in your PMDD relationship, it's natural for you to worry because you're assuming it. Your worry is not going to change anything. So I want you to be as optimistic as possible with your partner getting these tools and using these tools. Don't be that individual that says, you've never had them on a private session with me. You're not signing up for the group coaching program, but you're saying, I already know that's not going to work for my partner because they've already told me that they don't want to do the work. They've already told me that they don't want to go to counseling. They don't want to go to coaching. They don't want to do therapy. So I'm not even going to try. Well, what good is that going to do your relationship if you're not willing to try at least? Is that going to make it any better? Because what's happening by them going months and months and months of not getting any of these tools and utilizing them is they're losing hope. And that's the reason why a lot of your partners don't want to go to sessions, is because they don't think it's going to make a difference. They think, oh, what's the point? It's just going to be the same thing month after month, damage to the PMDD relationship. Like, why would I even try anything different? A lot of your PMDD partners don't want to get their hopes up if they don't think that it's actually going to work. But I know if you're listening to me and you've been listening to me for a while, I know that you know that the tools that I'm giving you work and they actually apply to PMDD relationships. So even if you've been to coaching, counseling, therapy, all the things with experts that are not specializing in PMDD, you cannot expect the same result. I specialize in PMDD. I have PMDD. I know what it feels like. So I'm not giving you these tools and saying, okay, this is going to work on your relationship. And I don't know what you're actually going through. And I spend half the session just trying to get an understanding of what you're experiencing. I'm not wasting your time like that. And I wouldn't waste your partner's time like that. And I believe if you go to them and you let them know, listen, Rose knows what she's talking about because she actually has PMDD every single month. Have them follow me on Instagram at In Love with PMDD. I literally document my journey every single day, whether I'm in my good days or I'm in my PMDD days. So the next tool I'm going to give you is understand what is and what isn't under your control. You spend a lot of time worrying about controlling your PMDD partner's actions, their emotions, their thoughts, their vibe, how they're feeling, how they show up. You cannot control your PMDD partner. You can't control how they're going to think. You can't control how they're going to act. You cannot control any of that. So you can do what you can to mitigate the risk and then see what happens. But if you realize, which I'm telling you, you have to let go of the things that you can't control. The only person that you can control is yourself. And when you're in PMDD, that's hard enough. So if you're in PMDD and you're trying to control yourself and your PMDD partner, that is going to cause you to be so stressed out to where you are going to want to break up because you're going to feel like, I can't do this. And I'm not telling you to do it. You can't control most of the things that you worry about in your PMDD relationship any more than you can control PMDD. How many times have you been frustrated because you're trying to control PMDD? I'm going to do this so I don't have this symptom. I'm going to do this so I don't have this symptoms. And it makes you so tired of trying all the things and you still have the PMDD symptoms. So why waste that energy? Why waste the energy on trying to spin your wheels with controlling your partner and how they react in PMDD instead of giving them the tools and allowing them to regulate themselves? So the next tool is I want you to stay grounded in the present moment. Pay attention to what you have to deal with yourself today. Don't think about the arguments that you've had in the past. Don't think about the past PMDD fights. Don't think about the past comments that your PMDD partner has made in regards to your relationship. Don't think about all that because that's not going to change anything. It's going to make you feel horrible. And when I say grounded, it's to empty out the noise. That's what my morning routine does for me. It empties out the noise and the intrusive thoughts that we know come. The thoughts that are telling you all these things about your PMDD partner. And I have a lot of grounding techniques that my private clients do, and they're all different. For some, it's journaling. For some, it's working out. For some, it's just taking a walk, doing yoga. But you have to ground yourself. It's to empty out all of that extra noise and that extra pressure that I know feels so heavy, because it's going to start to make you feel like having a relationship and PMDD is heavy. And it doesn't have to be. But if you don't use these tools, it probably is going to be. So the next tool is avoid isolating yourself. This is so important when dealing with your PMDD relationship and your PMDD partner. Your life with PMDD and your relationship is harder to manage all alone. This is why I am here. You are not supposed to do your PMDD relationship alone. You're not. You're just not. It's not expected, because it doesn't work. It causes suffering. And if you don't have the right PMDD trauma transformational tools that you're using, it's unreasonable to assume that you're going to do everything right by yourself. And it's unreasonable to assume that your partner is too. I'm here to alleviate the stress, to reduce the stress that you have in your PMDD relationship. So avoid isolating yourself. If you've not reached out to me for help, I spend 2 to 3 hours. Now it's like 3 to 4 hours a day in my inbox on Instagram talking to PMDD partners. If you've not reached out to help in your PMDD relationship, you're going to be stressed out. Your stress is only going to increase if you're trying to do your PMDD relationship alone. It's kind of like if you wanted to lose weight and you didn't know where to start. This is why people hire trainers. It's like, I know what I want to do. I want to lose weight, but I don't know what to do. Hire a trainer or start a workout program or something. Like you need an outside entity to help you in your PMDD relationship. It's the same thing. You're not expected to just go out there and just make it happen because you're in a relationship. And I don't want you throwing away your relationship when you know that it's getting damaged every single month by isolating yourself and trying to do it alone. And the last PMDD trauma transformational tool to remind you that it's not your fault in your PMDD relationship is remind yourself of your past worries. Remind yourself of all the things that you've worried about in your PMDD relationship. All of the things that you've been scared of with your PMDD partner. Have they come true? Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Worrying takes energy out of you. And if your worrying is making your PMDD relationship worse, it's making it worse for you and it's causing you to suffer more, I'm telling you to take some of that worry off of your plate by reaching out and getting help so that you can just only have to deal with PMDD when you're in PMDD. And if you need your partners to support you, give them the tools so that they can support you, to take some of that feeling of overwhelm off of your plate so that you can say, you know what? My PMDD partner is doing this, they're doing that. It's not my fault. I don't have to take on responsibility for that. You do not have to take on responsibility for things that are out of your control. Support your partner in getting better by being a better PMDD partner, by giving them the tools to do so. I am here to help not only you, but also your PMDD partner so that you can feel less overwhelmed, less stressed in your PMDD relationship, so you don't feel like you have to break up with your partner just to get peace. You can have the PMDD partner that you desire and deserve while having PMDD. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.